How do you view the new appointments in the Syrian government?
The new cascading appointments that are executed by Mohamed El-Arab, the head of the coalition of militant factions in Syria after the ouster of al-Assad regime, to a number of things. They refer to the fact that those who have Islamic tendencies tend to preside over the government in comparison to any other liberal sects, national sects, or even independent sects inside of Syria. The second indicator here to these appointments is that there is an attempt from the end of Mohamed El-Arab and his affiliated militant sects to actually do appointments that are not consistent with those done under the or during the rule of al-Assad. This, in fact, shows, or for over a decade, there was a lot of fighting between these opposing sects and al-Assad regime, and I believe this drove these appointments while. The other thing is that this government is a transitional one, which is going to operate from 3 to 6 months. And this makes it more of a caretaker government, a transitional one, in order that is mandated to caretake and run the affairs of the state until a new constitution is drafted, and in order to or this government is formulated once more in a way that includes different minorities and social spectra in Syria. The other thing is I would like to refer to is that the international community.
That was exactly my second question to me, which is, how do you assess the international community's response towards this whole new situation in Syria?
The international community can be assessed to be a pragmatic one. A pragmatic approach that is just trying to cope with the new variables in the political scene in Syria. You know, a regime was ousted, and so there had to be some kind of a response, a conducive response from the international community. Around 20,000 of Syrian territories are controlled by democratic Syrian forces, while a smaller percentage are being controlled by other sects that are far from being affiliated with the ruling sect. And so pragmatism here is what rules the scene. As well, there is movement from regional and Western elements, some of which had strong affinities and relations with Assad, and some others didn't. The United States and some other Western countries like Britain, like France, like the United Nations, you know, all of them right now have representatives trying to take place in the because they do not want chaos and absolute anarchy to cool the situation in Syria, and this and some international forces have a conviction that when they waiver some economic sanctions imposed on Golani and Hayat Tahrir Sham, in fact, are necessary in order to contain these new sects and in order for these forces as well, for the West thinks that this is as well important in order not to let Russia have great influence inside of the new Syria.
Now, what's your take on the meeting that took place between Mohamed Ezz and the former Syrian vice president and his invitation to participate in the national dialogue?
There is an orientation from the end of al-Shura to engage some elements that were pro-Bashar regime that at the time visited the interactions and the dynamics of the regime long ago. In fact, we all know the exclusion of Farouk al-Shura in this context. And so this is just an attempt to include the representatives of the old regime that didn't carry assaults on the people. And I'm talking about elements that are not appointed in security positions or in the military. The other point I would like to refer to is that the Syrian regime right now is giving a message that it is ready to endorse new political currents that are varied in ideologies, and that they are right now trying to endorse new calibers that have not been convicted of bloodshed in Syria in the past. And the Syrian government is right to give a message that it is the previous page, and that it is not going to endorse any person who has Syrian blood on their hands, whether from the intelligence authorities, from the military authorities, or the security authorities. And so, right now, what's happening to Mohamed Ezz-El-Arab and his engagement of that is just an indicator that he is trying to send a message to the Syrian people in order to instill confidence and peace in their minds that this is a government that is
here ask how might all the developments that are occurring in Syria, including the US involvement, affect the geopolitical balance in the Middle East?
In fact, what's happening is going to definitely affect political conditions in the region. And Turkey is considered the winner in this scene. It has relations with militant sects that are now ruling Syria. Turkey was able to act a regime that it has been trying to for a decade and a half nearly, and it is now supporting the ruling sects to impose control over at Halab, all to Damascus. And right now, Turkey is the biggest, and the biggest loser here as a regional force is Iran, because Iran has lost a regime that was pro-Iran, and Iran had some economic project running under auspices of the Assad regime. And right now, Iran has lost a lot by the pressure of al-Assad regime and the diminishing of Hezbollah as well.
Indeed. Still remains to be seen the involvement of the group that was Mohamed Ezz El-Arab, head of the Arab Regional Strategic Studies Unit at Al-Ahram Center. We thank you so much for your insights.